Hi everybody, foXnoMad here, and today I want to help you travel smarter by taking a look at NordLocker, which is a secure file storage service which tries to make the solution to a very simple problem simple as well. And it does so with some mixed results. So essentially what NordLocker is trying to do is it's trying to solve a problem that a lot of us are facing these days, and that's backup. So for example, if you have a lot of video clips on your laptop, or you just take pictures all the time and you've been alive long enough to accumulate digital stuff over time, you know that if you're doing it right, you should probably be backing all that stuff up. And it gets really cumbersome to carry a whole bunch of different hard drives, especially if you travel very frequently. So perhaps you're looking online or at some cloud backup solutions, and you're just sending your stuff up to the cloud to be backed up. It's really convenient. It's really easy to use. Means you don't have a lot of other extra stuff to carry around with you, especially if you're traveling frequently. But then it gets into this question of, hey, where's all my stuff going? And you've got to trust that backup service provider to keep all your data safe and to make sure that they're not looking at your data itself. So you got to keep it safe from outsiders, but also from the company that's storing your stuff as well. And that's where NordLocker comes in. It basically encrypts the files on your hard drive. So whether or not you're sending them up to the cloud, or you want to just make sure that they're secure in your hard drive, like if you get searched in an airport, for example, NordLocker does that. And NordLocker also helps you solve the problem that a lot of people have faced in the past with encryption, which is encrypting and decrypting individual files. With NordLocker, you don't have to do that at all. Basically, what you do is you take a folder, let's say from your desktop, drag it into NordLocker, which you unlock using a master password. Once you do that, then that folder is now in your locker. So it's a locker folder. And as long as you put in the master password, then your lockers are open and you can use those files like you would use any other files on your desktop or on your computer. And then once you're done, you just close the locker out, and then now those files are encrypted. When those files are encrypted, you can then set them up to be backed up, for example, to the cloud or to another hard drive, and you can just be assured that those files are then in an encrypted state. And NordLocker is a completely local service, so it's not sending your data anywhere. It's basically keeping it on your hard drive unless you decide to send that to a backup provider or to send it somewhere else. It's staying on your drive. So that's one of the benefits of NordLocker. It's not a backup service. It's basically an encryption service. So here's how NordLocker works. Basically, there are two tiers, a free version with a 2 GB limit and the other unlimited premium version that has a $1 a month charge that's billed annually. And with that, you get unlimited storage. So you can basically encrypt as many files as you can fit on your hard drive. If you're already a NordPass or NordVPN user, you can use those credentials to download NordLocker. So you download it and it's a pretty easy install. It's pretty straightforward, except I had a few issues. NordLocker wanted access to some of my network drives, which I felt was unnecessary, and I wasn't able to specify which folders I wanted to give it access to and not give access to. Now, this is on macOS, so it was really just kind of frustrating to not be able to specify what access I wanted to give it, and without getting proper warning messages. So the warning messages weren't very clear. I wasn't sure that that was the reason why the setup wasn't working properly. After a few times, I eventually got it working, but it wasn't as smooth of a process as I would have liked it to be. Once it is set up though, you just set a master password to your lockers and that's it. You can drag and drop folders of pictures, files, or whatever you want into a locker, and as long as the locker is unlocked, you can access and use the files as needed. You can create different lockers, however you want to organize your files, and that's it. And it also has a feature where you can share those files with other NordLocker users, so you just put in their email address, a short message, which files and folders you want to send, and then it'll go off and be sent encrypted to another NordLocker user. It's a really useful and handy feature, but one thing I didn't like about it is when you put in an email address, if that person isn't already on NordLocker, it's going to send them an automatic invite, which I wish it would just tell me, hey, that person is not already using NordLocker. Do you want to send them an invite? Rather than just sending them the invite automatically. I feel like it could potentially send out spam. It could cause people to feel like they're getting spam, or maybe you just put in the wrong email address or whatever. It would be nice to have that option basically to send that invite if you want to, but not have it be automatic. So aside from the secure sharing and the encryption on your drive, basically that's what NordLocker does. Those are the NordLocker features. Now, don't get me wrong, NordLocker is not a backup service. It's not meant for that. It's a completely local service. Essentially, what it's doing is it's allowing you to encrypt and decrypt your files on your hard drive so that if you want to send them off, and mostly this is going to be in the case where you're backing them up in the cloud. So in those files that you select, basically what you can do is if you were sending this to a cloud provider, for example, you would select those NordLocker files, those folders, and you can see here, they're all just encrypted mumbo jumbo inside of them. You pick that main locker, that locker folder, and then you send that off to the cloud to be backed up. Now it's encrypted, so if somebody gets access to that file or those folders, they're not going to be able to read them because it's encrypted using a very sophisticated encryption system. I won't get into the entire details about how NordLocker works. It's using GoCryptFS, but I'll leave a link to that in the description below. NordLocker goes into a lot of details about how they encrypt things, their process, so you can read that if you're interested. The PC Security Channel also did a ransomware test against NordLocker, so if you want to see the results of that test, I'll leave a link to that video in the description below so you can check it out. And on the privacy side, NordLocker is pretty much zero knowledge. Like I said, it's a local service. NordLocker doesn't have access to your files. And even when you use the secure sharing option, they can't see what files you're sending, or they don't even know what the file names that you're sending are. So they can't even read the file names. And that secured share that you're doing can only be opened by that other NordLocker user. So it's not that it can be rerouted or be sent to somebody else. It has to be opened by that other NordPass user that you specified. So at this point, if you're still watching, you're probably in one of two camps. And the first is, hey, that looks like a cool service that I can use to encrypt my files on my hard drive, and maybe that'll help me when I send them to a backup cloud provider or something like that, for example. And the other half of you are probably screaming at the screen going, hey, there are so many other free solutions. There's so many other options, so many open source ways to do this. You don't need to pay for it. You don't need to rely on NordLocker to do any of this. You can set this up all yourself. And yeah, that's absolutely true. There are a lot of open source ways to do this. There are a lot of open source and free ways to use the same type of kind of encryption principle that NordLocker is using. The problem with a lot of those other open source solutions is that they require a knowledge of encryption, or at least sort of a knowledge or an experience using this kind of software. They're not entirely seamless to set up. And if you don't know what you're doing, if you're just want to use your files and maybe just secure them, but you're not really familiar with this kind of software, then the process is going to be really cumbersome for you. And you're probably not even going to start that process. And that's what NordLocker is trying to do. It's trying to bridge those two camps. It's basically trying to take the people in the middle. So it's not the encryption diehards, the people that are already encrypting and backing up your files using open source, using all kinds of different ways. It's not really for you guys. And for the people who are just completely oblivious about encryption, it's targeted for them, but right now it's sort of kind of in this middle space because it's not as user-friendly as it could be. It's not as seamless as it could be. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that this technology isn't inherently intuitive. So it's not inherently intuitive to people that don't encrypt their files already, or they don't use file encryption, folder encryption already. It's not inherently intuitive to them. So NordLocker is trying to make that process as simple as they can, but they're not quite getting there. Yeah, they've tried to make the barrier to entry very, very low, which helps a lot. It's a free service up to 2 gigabytes. You can download it and you have it. If you use NordVPN or use NordPass, it's tied with those accounts already. If setup does go smoothly, it's pretty straightforward. You just set up a master password and then you've got your locker. Then you can just drag and drop and encrypt folders on the fly like that. It's pretty straightforward. But again, you've got to be the one to take those folders and drag and drop them into your lockers. You've got to remember to organize your folders by lockers. You've got to remember to do that. You've got to remember that if you move a folder, it might just be copying it. So you have the option to copy a folder into a locker so that you have an unencrypted and the encrypted version as well. So if you do that, you might be backing up the wrong file. You might still be backing up those old unencrypted files, for example. You've got to remember to organize all your files and folders digitally so that they make sense. And you might just forget to do that. It's almost that NordLocker is so simple, it's probably going to miss a lot of novice users. On macOS, for example, you can right click and you'll see this add to locker option here, which is great. But it'd be nice that every time if you created a folder, it'd have something pop up and say, hey, do you want to encrypt this folder? Do you want to add it to a locker? Maybe do some sort of locker maintenance or checkup, maybe some sort of file search or scan that will go through these files on your system and maybe recommend ones that you might want to encrypt, or maybe say, hey, the documents folder and then this folder, you might want to encrypt those by default. Let's just add those to a locker right away. Something like that to help people and encourage them and get them used to using encryption and folder encryption and the lockers in general. NordLocker is still relatively new, so I'm hoping that there will be updates coming out to really increase its user friendliness. They've got the encryption side well done. They've got the setup pretty easy. So if you're used to this kind of encryption and decryption on the fly using fuse drives and everything like that, then NordLocker is going to be pretty simple for you to just switch over if you want to try it out. But if you're somebody who's new to encryption, you're somebody who really isn't organizing your folders and files this way already, then NordLocker has some way to go that hopefully they'll resolve in future updates to make it easier for the masses. Like I said, I'll leave a link to the NordPass encryption details in the description below if you want to check that out. I did also review NordPass a couple weeks ago, which really takes password storage and management, makes it very easy. It's a much more fully baked product, and you can see that it makes managing passwords, things that, again, a lot of people just don't want to deal with. It makes that a lot easier. So if you want to check out that review, that'll also be in the description below. And while you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'll have new videos for you every week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hi everybody. Hi everybody that tries to make the problem. Hi everybody tries to make. Hi everybody look at Nord. Hi everybody Fox. Hi everybody. Hi everybody Fox. Hi everybody Fox. Hi everybody. Hi everybody. Hi everybody Fox. No. Hi everybody Fox. Hi everybody.